Hello friends, I've noticed that quite often people wonder where on earth Tuba Skinny get their music from, and you have people writing comments under videos saying, can you please somebody send me the music for this tune? Well, this raises the whole question of how traditional jazz musicians get hold of their music, and it's quite an interesting subject actually, and that's going to be the topic of this particular video. So I'd like to start by telling you something that once happened to me. I was very late coming into music, and in fact I was in my 50s when I joined some local players. We were nearly all beginners, trying to form ourselves into a traditional jazz band, and we managed to learn 10 or a dozen tunes, and then suddenly we started pestering the local pubs to go and play gigs. And one night we went into a pub and we played for an hour or so. And at the end of the performance, a young man came up to me and he said, I am a trumpet player. I want to play this stuff, this traditional jazz. Can you please lend me the music for a week or two so I can go away and learn it? And I said, well, I'm sorry, I haven't got any music. It's just in my head. We've had to sort of pick it out and learn it. And that's the way we do it. And I'm sure that even in the case of a great band like Tuba Skinny, much of their music is picked up very easily from old recordings, particularly when they're playing the simpler numbers that are just 8-bar tunes or 12-bar blues and so on. But some of their music, of course, is much more complicated. And I think what they probably do is they listen to old recordings, many of which are available on YouTube, by the way. You don't have to have literally the old records anymore, because many kind people have put them up. So, for example, in recent months, they've added tunes like Too Late, Springfield Stomp, very tricky one, Fireworks, Jones Law Blues, Hot Town, and you wonder how on earth did they get that music? Well, I must tell you that if you want to go to a music shop to buy it, first of all, you'll have difficulty finding a music shop these days. There aren't many left. And if you went into one and said, can I please have the sheet music for Jones Law Blues, they wouldn't know what you were talking about. So they certainly didn't get the music like that. What I think happened is that they play the piece of music perhaps with the YouTube recording. They press the pause button after every few notes, and then they write down what they hear, and they work out the chords to go with it. That's very important. And you just have to go on doing that until you reach the end. It can take a very long time to sort out one complete tune, especially if it has a number of themes. But I'm sure that's what Tuba Skinny do. We would all guess that it's probably Shay who does most of that work, but anybody in Tuba Skinny is capable of doing that. They're all such good musicians and they all understand music so well. But I'm sure that's how they get the tune, and then having made their own lead sheet, they then decide how they're going to play it. And very often I've noticed that if you compare some of their melodies with the originals, they're not exactly the same. And I think that as they are transcribing them, they sometimes make slight improvements to the original melody. So I actually prefer the Tuba Skinny version to the original. Anyway, that's how I think Tuba Skinny go about it for most of their work. But I want to talk about other ways in which you can get music, because I found after I'd started that it is possible to buy some stuff. For example, there's a series of books called 101 Hits for Buskers. Now, buskers and fake books, as they're called, are a very useful source for music. So there's plenty of books in this series, so if you bought all of them, you'd have probably 1,000 or more tunes. But unfortunately, the tunes in these books include absolutely masses of popular tunes from the early 20th century, and not all of them are played by jazz bands. Quite a few are. For example, looking down this list, what can I see? Ain't She Sweet, Black and, no, we don't do that one, Bye Bye Baby, Carolina Moon, Chilito Lindo, and so on. There are a few that are played by jazz bands. And the way the music is set out, let's try and find one to give you an example. Well, here's one I haven't heard played by a jazz band, but it's a popular tune, King of the Road. You see it provides you with the dots, the melody, and written above them you have the chords, F, F, G and so on. So you've got all you need really to learn the tune and improvise. So these books are very, very useful, but they don't include entire Sunny Side of the Street there. Of course, every band plays that one, so that's a very useful one. But they don't include totally tunes like that. There's also another series called Dixieland Buskers. Now this is much more specific and more useful because pretty well all the tunes in this one are tunes that jazz bands play. Things like Aunt Hager's Blues, Beale Street Blues, Black Bottom Stomp, Blues My Naughty Sweetie Gives to Me, Chimes Blues, Careless Love, Georgia on My Mind, Down Home Rag. Some of these, of course, Tuba Skinny play, and for all I know, they may have learnt them from these books. So if we have a quick look in here, there's two very popular tunes, Blues My Naughty Sweetie Gives to Me and Breeze. Certainly all the top bands play those. The Grandpa's Spells, which of course is a great classic that Tuba Skinny play, and for all I know they may well have got it from this book. So that's one called Dixieland Buskers. I bought mine about 30 years ago, but if it's still in print, I'd certainly recommend it. And there is at least one other book in the series. When I was in New Orleans a very long time ago, I bought this massive book. It's a fake book containing 1,200 songs. And for general musicians, it is absolutely wonderful because, let me just hold up a sample page. As you can see, you get the music, you get the chords, you even get the words. If you're a vocalist, it could be very, very useful. So that is a wonderful publication, very expensive as it was as well. But I must say, I must warn you that, again, probably about 60% of the tunes in here are never played by traditional jazz bands. So you'd have to think twice about buying it. And generally speaking, be very careful about fake books that have the word jazz in the title and appear to be very good on the face of it, but when you buy them you find they contain lots of modern jazz tunes or very obscure tunes, so a warning about those as well. And then one other, well, I can give you two more excellent sources for music. One of them is that wonderful Swedish gentleman Lasse Collin, Christian name Lasse, surname Collin. And if you type his name in your search engine and put Lasse Collin jazz chords or books or whatever, you will find that he has a website. He's a Swedish gentleman, he's a musician himself, he plays traditional jazz, and he has a website on which he has set up about 1,000 different jazz tunes. They're all there clearly written out for you with the notes, the chords and the words if they're songs. So that is a very, very useful and totally free resource. Lasse is an absolutely wonderful man. He's done a great favour to the world of music by creating that website and building it up by adding to it constantly, month by month. And then one other source of getting some of these obscure pieces, if you type into your search engine sheet music and then give the title of the tune you want, you will often find that you can download it from one of the American university libraries because they have some quite good collections. For example, I got from them Deep Henderson, Willie the Weeper, which of course are both big numbers with Tuba Skinny, Dusty Rag, another Tuba Skinny one, Ball in the Jack, Tuba Skinny play that, That's a Plenty, Big Chief Battle Axe especially, very popular tune, and Tuba Skinny have revived it in recent years. Now all of those are available to download from universities in America, totally free, and you get the piano music from which you can work out whatever you need to know. So, oh, and finally, what have I done in my own career? I've filled up 5 little pocket moleskin books with jazz tunes as I've learnt them. I've just entered them in for my own personal use. So if ever I was out at a gig anywhere and I was suddenly asked to play a tune I didn't really know well enough, I could always quickly whip the little book open and play it from that. And I also built up a music index. So as I added every tune, I kept it in here, another little Moleskine book. So if I open again at random, I find Let's Do It is in book number 2, page 108. Let the Great Big World Go Keep Turning is in book 404. So they're all there. I can find pretty well anything I want that I've written out with my own hand. And I've now got this little bundle of 5 Moleskine books, which contain, I should think, probably about 1,000 tunes that I've handwritten myself there. Well, I hope all that was helpful. I'd like to go on making videos of this kind, so if you have any more ideas of things that you would like me to talk about, please write down in the comments letting me know what your ideas are, and I'll do my best to oblige. But for now, it's goodbye from me.